Alright, what is up, guys? Back with another video. This is another storytime video, obviously. And this storytime is about the time one of my friends went to this place in New Hampshire called Manchester to buy an obvious car scam. Now, if you're thinking, what do you mean by car scam? I will tell you. I'm not going to use any names because I don't want the person to come after me for it, for telling this story, because it lost them about 12. It was either 1,000 or like $1,200, and they probably don't want a bunch of people to hear that they lost $1,200 to an obvious scam. So basically, I was living in New Hampshire. One of my friends, I will say it was a she found this car online. It was a 2015 or 2016 Honda Civic with, I think it said like 45,000 miles on it, and they wanted $1,200 for it. Now, if you know anything, a 2015 2016 car in like 2020 2021 was like not unheard of, but for that much money, it's clearly a scam. You are not paying under 10, 20,000 for a car like that at that time. And this was at the time when the car market, like the bubble, was just about to pop. So it wasn't like super, super expensive to buy one of these cars. But it was at the point where, like, now you can find the same car for like maybe anywhere from like 10 grand to the low end of like 7 or 8. So it wasn't like you still have to pay a little bit of money to get these cars now. Not to the point of where she was buying it for $1,000. It was not that cheap back then. Maybe in like 5 or 6 more years, maybe they'll be like $2,000. But usually, like Hondas, Toyotas, Subarus, those and Nissans, those ones hold their value pretty well, but they're not like I think Toyota and Lexus, which I have a Lexus, uh, they hold their value pretty well. Honda also holds its value pretty well. Nissan and Subaru, they're wonky, but they're still good cheap cars. But anyways, she asked me, "Hey, can you drive me to Manchester so I can look at this car and pick it up?" And obviously, I said, "No, that's a scam. You look at the ad and you know it's a scam because there's no way anybody is selling a car for that much, right?" And she was, I don't know why she thought this, like, she thought, "Oh, I can prove him wrong. I can get this 2015, 2016 Civic for $1,000." So she gets one of her other friends to drive her from, I believe it was around Keene. I think she was living in Winchester at the time. She got her friend to drive her from Winchester all the way to Manchester, which is about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic and stuff. But basically, her friend drives her from Winchester to Manchester. She meets up with the person, and the person, she told me this after, and this is what I heard from all the people who were getting at me for not going and picking her up after her stupid decision because she didn't tell you the whole story. All right. So she meets up with this guy. The guy goes, "Can I see the money first, and then I'll go get the car out of the parking garage," because they were standing in front of a parking garage. So the guy takes the money from her, counts it all out, and then disappears into the parking garage. She waits there for, I believe it was like 10 or 15 minutes, being like, okay, the guy still hasn't shown up yet. And then at like maybe the 20-minute mark, she was like, this guy's not coming back. She starts looking around for the guy, and she's like, oh my God, I got scammed. But because she didn't want to admit that I was right, she didn't tell anybody. Like, she called me and she was like, hey, the guy took my money. Can you come get me from Manchester? And I was like, no, I'm at work. I can't come get you from Manchester. This is like, I cannot do that for you. And then she called a bunch of her other friends, but she didn't tell them the part where I was like, I'm not driving you to Manchester because this is a scam. She only told them I was dropped off. I called Noah and he wouldn't come pick me up. But she left out the part that I told her not to go in the first place. So, because I was like the reliable friend, everybody blamed me for not going and picking her up, even though I told her not to go in the first place. So she calls all their friends. She tells them the situation. I think she was picked up by one of her friends from either Massachusetts and or from Keene. And they drove her back to Winchester. And I got, like, I don't know, 20, maybe 15, 20 messages that day saying, oh, you're a piece of shit. Oh, you should have done this. You're the reliable person. You should have dropped what you did at work and went and picked her up. And then I had to come out and tell I would get this message and then I would be like, did she tell you that I told her not to go? She asked me to bring her there. I told her it was a scam. And she went anyways. And they were like, oh, she didn't tell us that. And I was like, why would she? She wants to blame something on me, even though I was the one trying to protect her from this shit happening. So, yeah, it was a shit show all around, and I don't know. She never got her money back. I think she had to work at her job. I think she was working at like Target or something for like another month to get enough money to put a down payment on a car because, you know, leasing and or financing a car is a little bit better because you know that like the car's not a stolen car or a scam car like this was because it's at a dealership. You walk in there, you're like, hey, can I afford this car? They tell you yes or no, then you give them the money and they give you the keys and a temp tag. Unlike what happened to her, which was she handed over the money and the guy disappeared. So, yeah, that's basically it for today's story time. If you guys would like to hear more stuff like this, please let me know by leaving a comment. If there's any other stuff that you can think of for video ideas, please also drop it in the comments, because I would love to do some sort of like vlog for you guys out in San Antonio, like going to the Riverwalk or going to the Alamo or going to like Granite Lake or something to go fishing. Just let me know what you guys would want to see, and I will make sure to read the comments and make it happen. So yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. Have a good one. Peace.